What is going on, everybody? Chris James here. Today we are going to be taking a quick look at my comment section. And the reason I wanted to do this is because back in the day, I used to do a lot of, um I used to respond to comments a lot. And recently, I haven't been able to do that, not nearly like I would like to. And yeah, I just decided I want to go in the comment section and respond to some
Hi, I'm Chris James,
questions
and
that you guys might have for me. And so that's what we're going to do now. I hope you guys have been having a great week. It has been a crazy week. It has been a crazy week. I mean, I know technically the week just started, but we just found out that Biden dropped out of the presidential race. There was an assassination attempt on Trump. It's been crazy. But we don't. We're gonna focus on positivity and healing. And I've got some cool things coming for you guys. I've been working on. As some of you all know, I don't like to use a ton of different products and things of that nature. So over the past few years, I haven't really had too many products and things for you all um, to use. I wanted to teach from a way where you guys could basically get the benefit of healing your own body naturally without feeling like you got to depend on products and things of that nature. However, along my journey, I've learned that because of the nature of our disease and the environment, sometimes having certain things, products and things will help. Obviously, natural products. Usually things derived from plants, and I've always been an advocate of that. I don't have any issue with that at all. But there's also some technologies that I have personally used, and I've been testing a new one that I think is going to be a game changer. And I know everybody wants to know what it is, and I'm sorry for how I'm doing this. Shell tells me I'm always spilling the tea and stuff like that. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is right now, but just know that an announcement is going to be coming very, very soon. And we're going to be talking about this because, oh man, yeah, we're having some pretty exciting. So make sure that you stay tuned in. If you're not already a part of AHA Communities, join ahacommunities.com. Join us there, because the announcement will be there. And then also, if you guys go over to ahealthyalternative.org, you can sign up for our newsletter, and the announcement will get sent right to your email. But when I say it's a game changer, um, I don't know how else to put it. So anyway, we are going to be getting into the comment section, and let's see if I remove this filter. The first comment that I see is from a video I did with Justin Howe. Man, like 6 years ago now. I don't know. It's been so long. Um, he talks about dry fasting in the video, and dry fasting has been a very big topic for us lately. So this question is, how do I do this? I feel dizzy if I don't eat. Like, how do I prepare? So how do we prepare for fasting? How do we prepare for dry fasting? I'm going to give you guys some tools. I actually just mentioned the uh, the joining the website and getting information. Well, if you guys go to ahealthyalternative.org, there is a email sign up that will send you a fasting prep guide. So if you are interested in doing water fasting, it'll send you the fasting prep guide. Um, we do have a guide for dry fasting as well, and I will add that link to this video so you guys can get the dry fasting guides, you could get the water fasting guides, and all that. But to briefly kind of go over, like, generally speaking, how do you want to approach fasting and preparation? What you want to do is begin changing how you interact with food, and you want to start hydrating. So whatever you're doing now, if you're on a SAD diet or just a standard diet in your country, you want to shift to more a heavy plant-based diet. You don't have to be 100% plant-based, but you want to shift heavy plant-based, right? Because the H3O2, what you need to hydrate your cells, is going to come from the plants. If you're going to eat meat, which is fine, you want to make sure that you are eating a high quality meat. It matters. Okay. So do some research. Source a local organic farmer or an outlet or a farmer's market where you can get these high quality meats. It's going to cost you more, but because you're eating less of it, it could still be reasonable to do this. And for the first, you usually want to give yourself a week to prep for, fasting. It's going to help with your mental prep as well. So it's not just the physical prep. You want to also prep mental, but over the course of this week, you're going to basically reduce how much you're eating. Okay. So, let's just say if you eat 3 square meals a day, your goal is really to reduce that down to 1 meal. And you can start by eliminating breakfast. So now you just got the 2 meals left. And then as you get about the midpoint of the week, you can reduce down to 1 meal a day, whenever you feel comfortable. And what that'll do is it will train the body to produce ghrelin less frequently. And ghrelin is a digestive fluid. Well, it does many things, but one of the things it does is aids in digestion. Ghrelin is what's associated with hunger pangs. So by decreasing the frequency of the food, decrease how frequently you eat, and then also the density of the food that you eat, this will help to mitigate ghrelin production so that when you do start doing your fasting, you have an easier time. You're not as hungry. Okay. The other thing is you want to increase water intake. There's debate about how much water you should have. I'm going to say, half a gallon to a gallon. A gallon is the standard that we use because the body doesn't digest water very well. So only about 3% of the H2O that you're drinking is getting converted into something usable by the body. This is the reason why heavy plant-based material is important. However, drinking water, consistently throughout the day will help keep your system lubricated. And this is the part I think a lot of people miss. I'm not telling you drink a gallon of water within 2 hours and that's your gallon. You need to be drinking it throughout the whole day. The goal is to keep your system lubricated. That's going to help with digestion. That's going to help with bowel movements. That's going to help with hydration. Okay. All these things are going to help in preparation and make your fast much more seamless. So a half a gallon to a gallon a day. And then if you want to add like some fruit material to it, like some plant material, to make it to increase the benefit, that's also, a good tip. Add some key limes slices or something like that, some mint or something like that to the water, and that'll help. And then the last thing, as prepping for, fasting, you want to make sure that you are eating high water content foods. So these are going to be foods that are, I would say, 75% water content or better. You know what I mean? If you can lean into more 80% water content foods, that's better. A quick Google search will help you kind of determine what those foods might look like. But at the end of the day, you just want to be eating water. And that's what's going to help you be successful. Detox is going to give the body energy. Like, it cannot be overstated how important, hydrating the body is, and you get the best hydration through your fruits. So those resources are going to be available probably in the comment section, maybe in the description. And then that's kind of like a general answer to your question. Okay, so here's a comment on a video I did talking about the power of water fasting and intermittent fasting. The comment is, I'm on day 2 and I'm extremely dehydrated. Yesterday I drank 3 liters instead of 2. Is that bad? I'm assuming that's liters. So this actually kind of ties into the last question because we talked about hydrating. This is why preparation is so important. My question to you would be, did you prep? Right? And if you did prep, how did you prep? It's very important to prep before you do a fast so that you don't end up in this situation. People don't realize this, but you can't hydrate through traditional methods. You can't hydrate day of. Like, if you're going to be outside all day, 2 days from now doing an event or something like that, you got to start hydrating today for the body to actually get to a place where it is hydrated. You can't try to hydrate that day. So first thing I would say is prep. Try to avoid getting into this situation. But obviously, based on what I said before, if you're already dehydrated, the best way to do it is through eating your water. If you're already fasting, then the best thing you could probably do is just put some plant material in your water. Like I said, the key limes, you're going to let it cold steep. So you slice the key limes up in a gallon of water, you cold steep it for about 4 hours, and you drink that. You could also use cucumber. It's, you know, it's plant material. So that'll work. But drinking 3 liters of water, no, it's not necessarily bad. It depends on how you drink it. So the most important thing is make sure you're sipping your water throughout the day. I recommend no more than 16 ounces per hour, just kind of like as a general rule of thumb. And if you're just sipping on your water all day long, you'll get the gallon down no problem, and it'll be beneficial. Now, in my next video, I did how to lose 49 pounds in 30 days using the R72. The question is it dangerous to do this for diabetics? So it's the complete opposite of dangerous. It is actually extremely beneficial to do rolling fast for diabetics. Earlier, I alluded to some new technology that we're testing that I think will pair great with like a R72 protocol. For those of you who want like a more mild approach as far as fasting, but also want those great results, you can combine different tools together in order to boost your outcomes. Not, it's really to get your outcomes a little bit more quickly. Because one of the things that we struggle with in modern times is that we're living in a time where we want everything right now. And so that becomes a challenge. So by combining different supplements or technology with your fast and your dietary change, you can boost how quickly you see results. And I think that'll help keep people locked in longer so that you can get to your outcomes. So that's one of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately, because I'm like, how can we increase outcomes? And at this point in time, I'm at a place where I'm like, man, people need help. They need tools, things that they could use to help them. And so that's why we've been looking into, different supplements and things of that nature. Okay, so the next comment comes from our video we did with Jasmine. Jasmine lost 100 pounds in 5 months. She talks about her full fasting experience, and also we highlight that she didn't have any loose skin, which is a big thing, right? So if you guys are interested in learning about how to lose 100 pounds in 5 months with no loose skin, you might want to go check that video out. So the question is, I guess if severely overweight, you could do 14 days of water fasting with 2 days off, alternating for months. But why not supercharge it with dry fasting for a few days once a month too? So here's the thing. Everybody's experience is different, right? This was Jasmine's experience that we were talking about here in this video. I have absolutely no problem with supercharging your fast with dry fasting. As a matter of fact, this kind of ties into what I said earlier about even using supplements. I have no issue with supercharging your fast with supplements or alternative fasting methods. As a matter of fact, I think it could be extremely helpful, especially if you're struggling with pure water fasting. We have created this energy around pure water fasting as if it's the gold standard, that's because it's one of the safest, most effective fasting methods. But honestly, dry fasting really is the gold standard in reality. Like, dry fasting is the fasting king. So if you were to through water fasting, you're already hydrating well, because all you are doing is taking in water. It does boost your body's ability to absorb water and hydrate better when you fast. So rolling from water fasting to dry fasting is actually a technique that we do teach. It was just something we hadn't mentioned here in this video. And of course, we evolve as a brand and our teaching too. But I think it's a great option. So if you were going to, let's see, you said a few days a month of dry fasting. So if you're doing a 14-2, which is 14 days of water, 2 days of eating, then what I would recommend is maybe planting your dry fasting right in the middle of your water fasting, right? So do 7 days of water, do your 2 to 3 days of dry, then you can do your 7 days, your 7 days of water after, or however you kind of want to approach it. If you want those dry days to just kind of be included in the 14 days, you just subtract those, amount of days from your total process, and then you do your refeed. And then that way you have a buffer in between your dry fast and your eating, because you don't want to come off of a dry fast eating. So, but put the dry fast in the middle of your fasting, your water fasting. Give yourself a couple of days after dry fasting before your refeed, and then that way you don't have any issues with refeeding when you start eating. Okay? This is good. I should do this more often. I like this. All right. So this question I can't answer. I don't really understand it, and it might have been something that was mentioned in the video. So it's asking what is Reiki therapy. Oh, you know what? It might be Reiki. Okay, so this video is she dropped 60 pounds and reached her lowest weight in over 40 years. This was a interview I did with one of our members who is on her wellness journey and is just crushing it. And I think we did talk about Reiki therapy, but it's Reiki is I don't know a ton about Reiki. Okay, so let me say that, but it's a energy you use. The body has natural energy. It's basically being able to use the body's natural energy to heal. Okay, it's an energetic thing. So it's very safe, you know, just because of the nature of the therapy. And if you're utilizing a practitioner who is well vetted and they know what they're doing, it could be extremely, extremely effective of reversing disease. We're talking anything you could think of. And with Reiki, and once again, I'm not promising any type of results or anything, but with Reiki, if you know what you're doing at the highest level, you can also have instantaneous healing. But that's a whole nother level. You know, I'm not saying that you guys are going to necessarily find practitioners that can do that. I'm just telling you what I've seen. Reiki is very, very powerful. Okay. So the next one is how I lost 20 pounds in 4 days. So this is a video that I talked about where I personally lost 20 pounds in 4 days. People think I'm lying. It's fine. I understand it sounds crazy. But I used dry fasting to do it. And also the other thing too about it is at that time when I did this, I was at a place in my life where I had already done, multiple liver flushes. I was eating extremely clean. I was drinking water. I was hydrated. My body was firing on all 8 cylinders. And so when I started to dry fast, my results peaked, like can people who are obese or morbidly obese get similar results? Probably. They'll probably get it. When we talked to Justin, he lost 52 pounds in 10 days with dry fasting. So you're probably going to see similar results. If you're on the smaller side, you'll still see very good results. It may not be 20 pounds in 4 days. It might be 15 to 18 pounds. But still, 15 pounds in 4 days is off the charts. There's nothing. Anyway, so the question is, because I get people telling me, oh, I'm lying and stuff like that. All right, so I'm 16. I'm 5'6" and a half. I'm going to add the half in there. And I'm 155 pounds. How long should I dry fast for? So, oftentimes people, they want to put this restriction on age when it comes to fasting. Fasting is actually a natural practice that is safe for virtually all ages. Virtually, obviously, an infant baby doesn't need to be fasting, right? So, but at 16 years old, you're 5'6", 155 pounds. The question is a little more challenging to answer because I don't know what your goal is. I don't know what you're looking to accomplish. You're just asking, generally speaking, based on your height and weight, how much fasting you should do. I don't really have an answer for that, but I will say that if your goal is to lose weight, I don't even know if this is a male or female, but if your goal is to lose weight, you don't have a lot of weight to lose, so you could keep your dry fast very short. I would probably do 3 days max. Okay. I'm just making up a scenario in my head. I don't even know what you're fasting for. But in general, if you're fasting to reverse dis-ease, Once again, I would still recommend, especially if you're not used to dry fasting, you're going to start with 3 days at the max, and you're going to work your way up to 5 days, 6 days, whatever you want to do. Dry fasting becomes very challenging to work with when you start getting past 1 week. You start dry fasting for 7+ days, it becomes challenging because of the refeed. So if you're going to be fasting for that long, you need to have a intimate understanding of refeed and how to do it properly. That's my 2 cents on that. You don't want to be out here dry fasting for that long and not understand refeed. That's where it becomes a little dangerous. So I just want you guys to understand that. That's why I usually recommend 3 days max. Dry fasting is already a very powerful method. There's no reason why you got to push it that far, and you need to understand how it works. Okay. Um, okay. Some of these questions are too specific. I can't answer them. Okay, that question is to one of my guests. I can't answer that. Okay, here we go. Another question from the same video: how I lost 20 pounds in 4 days. Serious question: if I dry fast 4 days and lose 20 pounds, will I put the weight I lost? Well, they're asking, will they put the weight back on after they start eating? Um, Great question and fair question. So this is always going to be my answer to this question because it's the age-old question. If you go back to your old habits, you will put all of the weight back on. Okay, fasting has to always be tied to dietary changes. Uh, there's there is no getting around it. Now, once again, this technology that I was talking about earlier, it may make it a little bit more streamlined for you guys if you're struggling with your dietary changes. But once again, we should never use technology, supplements, or anything as a crutch. You always want to be looking to improve your diet because if you try to just do a therapy to keep your weight and your health in check, but you still want to eat poorly, you are still going to you're going to have problems. You can only dance that dance for so long, okay? So the mentality needs to be I'm doing this to kind of jumpstart my wellness journey. Maybe it'll even help you transition to healthier foods. But the reality is, I got to change my diet. Now, with that being said, if you're going to dry fast and you're going to go back to to eating and you're eating healthy, you still are looking to gain a little bit of water weight back because, well, we'll call it water weight, but the body has different fluids and things it manufactures and produces when you're digesting food, and that those fluids and things have weight. But here's what I will say. The weight that you lose when you dry fast and you go back to proper eating and the weight that you gain after you start your refeed, that's not the same weight. It is an exchange of bad weight for what I will just term as good weight, okay? So we get caught up on the scale, but the body is so much more dynamic than that. It's important to understand that when you're eliminating bad inflammation in the system or fat in the system, and then you start eating healthy and you gain some weight back, that is not the same weight. So even if you do gain, let's say you lose 20 pounds, you gain back 5, okay? You'll probably notice if you're checking your inches, like if you're checking your waist, your bust, whatever, you'll notice that you don't gain any waist. You don't gain inches on your waist or your bust or wherever you've been checking. That's how you understand that it's not the same weight. Okay, so if your pants start fitting weird, you've been fasting, your pants don't fit no more, and you gain 5 pounds back, your pants are still gonna fit weird. It's not like you're going to, be you guys get what I'm saying. Okay, so I did a video talking about the 4 signs that water fasting is working. Um, it's a really, really good video. You guys should check it out. It's a short though. And in that video, I basically give you guys examples of, excuse me, how do you know that water fasting is working? Or how do you know fasting is working? Because that's the big thing. It's like you're doing it, but you want to know that it's working. So I give some signs. One of the signs is you may feel drowsy. So the clarification that I want to make here is, in that video, I'm just giving examples of what you could experience when you're fasting. There's way more than 4 signs, right? So the question is, so if you feel energized and not drowsy, is the fast not working or cold? I'm not cold or drowsy. So in the video, I also mentioned if you feel cold, like if you're abnormally cold, fasting is working because the blood will rush inward to start doing repair work. We are all very unique individuals with unique chemical constituents in our body. We've had a unique path. So we're going to experience unique things on our fast. However, you can feel energized on your fast, and that may be a sign that fasting's working. Okay. Having extreme drowsiness or extreme energy, both are signs that your fast is working, because you have a through line, which is what you would consider your normal energy levels. So if you're experiencing extremes on either side, then the fasting is working. Both of those things can happen and be true. Um, you could also, I mentioned being really cold. You could also feel hot. You could also run hot. It just depends. Remember, a fever is your body's natural response to whatever stimulus is in your body, whether it's a germ or whatever the case may be, that the body is kind of increasing the heat to like get rid of it. So that's a normal thing. You could get a fever. It's not super common, so you don't hear me talking about it, but it's possible. People do get quote unquote sick after they start fasting and they think, oh, I have a cold, and they'll actually stop fasting. Well, if you've changed nothing in your life leading up to this cold except fasting, it's probably part of the process. We probably should talk more about that just so people are aware. But if you catch a cold right after you start fasting, it's probably the fast. All right. So this was fun. We've got 1,000 more questions to answer. I'll probably go ahead and do this again because I just think this is very helpful. Usually I just answer the questions in the comment section, but kind of doing it this way, it'll make it easier for you guys to, just have a whole bunch of questions all in one spot. You get to hear other people's questions. It might be a question you had or a question you didn't even think about. I want you guys to like this video, comment below if you have questions about fasting, and then what I could do is go through and read y'all's comments from this video. We can answer that. Well, that'll be cool. Subscribe if you haven't already, and remember, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you all next time.